Good morning. Hey, you made it. Tuesday, November 3rd. This is election day. This is election day. Uh, and this is the day that the Electoral College comes out every 4 years again. Uh, really not any kind of college where you go to school thing. It's just kind of what it's called. Where the states send their votes to the candidate to really be elected president. That's why we learned yesterday where are these blue states and these red states. Again, we're not going to get any kind of political debate here. We got enough of that garbage on TV. But blue has always stood for the Democrat. The states who when they tally up their votes, more for the Democratic candidate. This is why Texas and these states are blue here. Red has always stood for the Republican candidate, where the Republican would win more votes in that state than they won. So like in Arizona in this case, more people in Arizona voted for the Republican candidate than the Democratic candidate, and that's why all 11 Electoral College votes went towards the Republican candidate according to this map. Now remember, there are 538 total votes. However, you need 270 to win, more than half, right? We talked about why each state has a number to it. If you remember correctly, it's 2 senators plus a number of representatives, and that is completely dependent on state population. California, by far, has the most people living in that state, which is why they have the most Electoral College votes. Texas is the second most. Again, just because they're big states, like Alaska being the biggest state in our country, as far as land area, doesn't mean they have the most people, right? And they only have 3, which is the lowest you can have, because 2 senators, and every state has at least 1 representative that they send to Washington, D.C. Here again it is explained, two senators plus the number of representatives, 538 total. We talked about this being the exact numbers for 2020, and then we look back at what happened 4 years ago in 2016. You can see that in this case, President Trump, who was elected that night, again, you take the oath of office a couple months later, but he won over 270 Electoral College votes because that many the state numbers went towards him. The blue states went towards Hillary Clinton in 2016. Again, in your state, whoever votes more for the presidential candidate, that's who wins. In Arizona in 2016, more people voted for President Trump than for Hillary Clinton, which is why all 11 Electoral College votes went towards President Trump. If you look at 2012, this was between President Obama and Mitt Romney. You can see that it went a little bit differently. In 2012, President Obama won 303 Electoral College votes. I'm sorry I don't have this map with the numbers in, but you can see some of the big states like California and Illinois and New York, those have a lot of Electoral College votes. Pennsylvania went for President Obama, and if you just take a quick glance at this, say, whoa, I see more red than blue. Well, you got to remember, a lot of these big red states, in this case 2012 big red states, don't have a lot of the Electoral College votes. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, they only have 3. So I'm not saying you don't want to win them, you do, but you don't get a lot of Electoral College votes thrown your way. And these tiny little states like Rhode Island, Massachusetts, some of them only have 3, but a lot of them have so many people in there that they actually have, 6, 7, 9, 10 votes that you can win if you win that state. Let's go back to 2008. This was President Obama against Senator McCain. Senator McCain was from Arizona, and you can see Arizona voted more people in Arizona voted for Senator McCain than for President Obama. And so all 10 Electoral College votes went towards Senator McCain. Who did not win, as you can see, all the different blue, whether it's light blue or dark blue, that went towards President Obama. All the light red and dark red went towards Senator McCain. The light and dark red just means were there a lot of people that voted for Senator McCain or just barely one. That's what the light and dark means. But it doesn't matter. You can see that President Obama won pretty handedly, won by quite a lot in that case. If I remember correctly, in 2008, they called that race pretty early, meaning they knew President Obama was going to win. They have so much research done in this that they can sometimes call a state. They know how the voting is going to go, so they can call it and say, man, hardly anybody voted in that state, but they know it's going to go towards this candidate, or they know that state's going to go to that candidate. And again, in that case, that night, they knew pretty early that President Obama was going to be president. I want to show you a couple more, but first, I don't know if you noticed something in this map. Arizona had 10 Electoral College votes. And Texas, whoa, wait, what's going on here? The numbers are changing. Let's go back to the 2020. This is a map you're going to see a lot today. And the points, sorry, I shouldn't say points, the votes that will be sent towards a candidate today. You can see here, Arizona has 11. Let's go back to that 2008 map, and you can see very clearly that Arizona had 10. Well, what happened? Well, you can see that that was indeed 12 years ago. And if you remember back to what we talked about, how do they figure out these number of points? Well, it's based on the 2 senators, which every state has, and then the number of representatives, which is based on state population, or how many people are in that state. If you also notice, every 10 years is what's called a census year. You might be hearing that on the radio a lot. Fill out your census. You see that in different news channels and things. Every 10 years, our country runs a census, which literally counts the people in each state. You fill it out, and it can change the numbers like we see here. From 2008 to 2020, Arizona's population went up. We actually have more people in 2020 than in 2008, which is why we actually added a state representative. So instead of, in 2008, having 10 Electoral College votes, now we have 11. States don't always go up in population. Take a look at New York. Now, New York has 29 Electoral College votes. That's a lot. But let's look back at 2008. They had 31. I mean, to be honest with you, to lose 2 representatives in a state, which means they lost a lot of people, meaning a lot of people moved out of New York. There's other examples that you might have saw. I mean, if you just take a quick look, Illinois had 20 now when they used to have 21. I'm from Illinois. I can tell you a lot of people are moving out of the state of Illinois. High taxes and crime and just not great things going on in Illinois to have a lot of people come in, so everybody's moving out. Take a look back. Look at Florida. 29 today. They used to have only 27. A lot of people moving to Florida. So there's a lot of different changes in here. And as we go through the years, I kind of have a couple more I want to show you. You might see even more changes, but you can still see even 2008, 12 years ago, the big boys with a lot of votes are still California, Texas, Florida, New York, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Those are still largely the same. Here's 2000. Here's the reason I want to show 2000 is because this is an election I remember well because it was so close. I mean, do you remember how many points you need to win? 270. And in this case, President Bush won 271. I mean, four. Think of how many states. I know I talked about how these, man, only 3 votes. Well, in this case, those were huge because every last state meant so much to these candidates. And again, this case, President Bush won by 4 electoral college votes. If just one state would have had different votes a different way, it could have changed the entire election. And if you notice, you probably noticed a few things here. I mean, this was 20 years ago, but look at Arizona only had 8. In the last 20 years, a lot of people moved to Arizona. Look, New York at 33. In 2008, at 31. Now in 2020, it has 29. A lot of people moving out of New York. Florida has gone way up. So on and so forth. I guess we could sit there and talk about the differences all day. But this is just what I wanted to show you. Voting really matters. It's definitely part of our right and our privilege to vote. And you can see, like in 2000, this is the closest race that I can really remember. And, really one of the closest presidential races of all time. Of all time. Here's another one. This is in 1984. Not very close. Now, this is the year I was born, which is why I put this in here. And you can see some big differences. I mean, look at Arizona and Florida. Way less electoral college votes. I mean, again, this is what, 36 years ago, if quick math serves me correctly. But take a look at this. This is President Ronald Reagan going for re-election at this time, and he dominated. I mean, I talked to you about in 2008 how they called President Obama pretty quickly because it's very clear that he's going to win big time. 1984, even clearer. I mean, look at this. Literally one state the guy won, and that's because he was from the state of Minnesota and Washington, D.C., and that's not a state, but 13 votes. I mean, this is what you would call a landslide, right? This is, from all the maps I looked at, pretty clearly one of the biggest one-sided victories there has ever been. But again, 1984, President Ronald Reagan won by a lot. I just wanted to have some fun, so I kind of went to the year 1900. I believe this was President McKinley, but this has been going on with these electoral college votes since really our country became a country. If you wonder what in the world's going on here, Arizona, hey, well, if you remember, Arizona in 1900, was it a state? No, not quite. 1912, Arizona became a state, February 14th, 1912, the Valentine's State, right? That's when Arizona became a state, and you do not have electoral college votes unless you are a state. And so that's why Arizona does not have it. Again, there was a special amendment for Washington, D.C. to have that, which was not in the year 1900 quite yet. But you can see here, I mean, some big differences in 1900. Look at this. In this year, you really, really wanted to win New York. 36 in Pennsylvania, right? Take a look at California and Texas. Wow. Not very big as far as what they are today. Even Florida. Nobody's living in Florida. Oh man, no air conditioning yet in 1900, right? It makes sense. But just kind of an interesting thing. Really pretty close. It was funny how divided the North and South was here not too long after the bitter Civil War in this case. But again, just something for history's sake to show you this map in 1900, how the Electoral College went. And again, President McKinley won this race. Here is what I'm asking you guys to do. And I'll say the same thing as yesterday. It's not going to be a graded assignment. I'm still asking you to do it, but it's not going to be graded. It will give you extra credit if you do it and if you do it well. I'm going to ask you guys to watch TV today. And I want you to watch one of the channels that's covering the election. Hey, this only happens every 4 years for a presidential election, so, if you're in 3rd grade, the next time it'll happen is when you're in 7th grade, so on and so forth. So it only happens every so often. And again, here's the exact sheet I have for you. And while you're watching, it's kind of interesting how they do it, because they'll have a thing right there, 270 to win, and you'll see them go up as they add them. So they'll do the addition for you, but I actually want you to follow along, and as the states' votes are counted, and again, sometimes they can call it early because they know how it's going to turn out. You're going to see some of these states change from white to blue and red. And I'm asking you to kind of keep score at home doing that. Literally, if this state turns blue, color it in blue. And as the newscasters say, okay, this state is voting for red, which means Republican, color that state in red. And here's the deal. I know that this might go on late tonight. In fact, I got a bad feeling that there's going to be a lot of states that are still undecided. So you might not have every state filled in. And even if you have a bedtime, follow your bedtime. Ask mommy and daddy if you can, look something up on the internet or the news the next day, tomorrow morning or something, and fill in the rest. But some states you just might not be able to fill in because it might not be quite fully decided yet. But as well as you can, as much as you can, I want you to be doing that at home. Again, literally, as they're doing it on TV, I want you to color it out too, as it's happening. Kind of fun to follow along. There might be some boring parts in the newscast, but I think it's really interesting. Again, it only happens 4 years, or once every 4 years, so I hope you have a little fun with it. If you have some of those boring parts, I want to show you this website. This is something that you can copy and paste this web address into, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like here. So when you copy in that web address, you're going to come into this page. It's on CNN Politics, and it's going to start showing you like this. But again, this is just kind of their predictions at CNN. But I need you to scroll down just a little bit, and I want you to hit this that says from scratch. And if your internet is as slow as mine, it'll finally come up, and it's all completely blank, right? And what you can do is kind of like yesterday's assignment is you need to find somebody in your house you can kind of go against to see who's going to be president. But what's easier today is that this interactive map is going to do it for you. So again, let's say you do rock, paper, scissors, you pick rock as you always should. So you win, you get to go first. So let's say you pick California, and you guys got to figure out the colors. Okay, whoops, sorry. If you keep pressing it, it'll change colors. So, okay, let's say California's blue. Then the next person goes, and again, if they know what they're doing, they'll pick Texas. And look, you can see it keeps track right for you here, right? And okay, there's 270 to win. So then it's blue's turn, right? And they look and don't pick Montana yet. No offense to Montana, but you might, okay, let's do New York for blue. And again, it shows red first, but you gotta keep clicking on it to get to blue. And then red's turn. They'll click on Florida there, okay? And so you can see it keeping score, and you can see the importance of good states. So, if all of a sudden a blue goes and it said, okay, I'll do Michigan. And you click it to blue, it's like, oh, look, there's other states that have more, and so you can kind of catch up. Okay, let's do Pennsylvania here, there. So you got to kind of play a little catch up if you're second, because, man, picking California first, that's a big advantage. But kind of fun taking turns to, again, see who gets to 271st. And when you get to these kind of smaller states here, it's kind of hard to press on here. So if you see like RI stands for Rhode Island, you can actually click right on there, and it'll change the color, so you don't have to click here. And again, Maine and Nebraska can actually, they split up their electoral college votes, so if it looks like it's two different colors, it's because Maine and Nebraska, that's how they do it. So it'll kind of look exactly like that. It may or may not look like that on TV. But at any rate, I think it's kind of a fun game. I put the link there on the video. I'm also going to try to remember to put it on your worksheet guidelines on what you have to do there. But hey guys, I hope you really, this is just interesting to me. I hope you find it interesting as well. I think the Electoral College is fascinating and interesting as well, and I hope you guys learned a few things. But man, guys, Lord's blessings to you today, and hey, pray for our country, pray for wise leaders and whoever it may be, because tonight is really a big night with the election day. So pray for our country, not just today on election day, but always, and Lord's blessings to you guys.